What's going on? Happy Thursday. My heart goes out to all the victims down there in Florida.
Yes.
A lot of destruction. Tropicana Field's roof was ripped off. I saw a video. A boy was rescued off of, he was floating off a piece of fence, screaming for help. He says he's not a good swimmer. So, there's a lot of destruction down there, and my heart goes out to those people, man. But as far as sports goes, your coach got fired.
Yes.
What you got to say about that?
Well, Rob Saleh, he's gone. And I look at what he's done since he's been with the Jets, and the Jets played well defensively. He was a defensive coordinator coming in, so I was expecting that they had the pieces to have a great defense, and they showed it last year. This year, not so much. But I think it came down to not having Aaron Rodgers. Last year, just 4 plays. This year, he's there, but we're not getting any real results. And then I think it really came down on him when he did not come up with a offensive coordinator who could really make offensive play calls. For years, Jets fans, and I think people on the radio have been talking about getting rid of Nathaniel Hackett, but they didn't. So, and now after Saleh has gotten fired, he's saying, well, I was going to take play calling duties away from Nathaniel Hackett. Too little, too late, because now Todd Downing is coming in. He was the passing game coordinator for the Jets. He's going to be the offensive coordinator. He will be making the play calls because now interim head coach Jeff Ulbrich, he's making the calls. And I'm wondering, how long is this going to be? Because this is pretty early for the Jets or any team to make this type of a decision when you have this kind of defense and you had these kind of expectations coming into the season. The Carolina Panthers did that to Frank Reich, but but you think that there weren't really any real expectations. Here with the Jets, with this in place, Rob Saleh leaving, getting fired. But when you think about it and you listen to some of the news up there in New York, it might have come down to more than just football when it comes to him getting fired. He comes back from London. They lose to the Vikings, which is an undefeated team, so no real shame in that. But, moral victories don't matter in the NFL. He goes to work on Tuesday like he does all the time, and Woody Johnson calls him in and lets him know that he's fired. And the story comes out that Woody Johnson had spoken with Aaron Rodgers beforehand, so it leads people to believe that Aaron Rodgers had a say in it, when in fact, well, I don't know if it's a fact, so I can't say that. But Woody Johnson makes it a point to say, no, it wasn't Aaron Rodgers. He wasn't the reason, even though just a couple of weeks ago, I heard there was a little bit of it was pretty contentious between the two.
So my thing would be, did he offer that on his own or was he asked that? Because if he offered it on his own, then he's lying. Because if it was totally his decision, he wouldn't even thought of Aaron Rodgers. He would have never thought to even say Aaron had nothing to do with this.
You know what? I don't know where it started off from. It's now been said since so much has been said. So I don't know where the impetus of it has begun. Where if someone said, hey, the Aaron Rodgers, was that had something to do with it? Or did he try to get in front of it? Like you said, if he tried to get in front of it with no one asking him, that's kind of guilty right there. It seems like he might be guilty of it if he had done something like that. But then as the story goes on, days have passed, you think about the post-game conference he had, and he had a Lebanese flag on his shirt, on his sweatshirt, of his Jet sweatshirt, a Lebanese flag. With everything going on in the Middle East right now, and Woody Johnson being a former ambassador under Trump, I mean, you know what? Could that have had something to do with it as well? I don't know. You want to get politics out of it?
I saw a report that he may have a lawsuit, a valid lawsuit case, because this is America. You're supposed to have freedom. If he wants to support his ethnicity or his homeland, so to speak, whatever, he has every right to do that.
But we don't know
no matter
for sure.
whose feathers it ruffles. You can say we're in America, blah. It don't matter. We're supposed to be free in this country.
Yeah, but at the same time, you have to prove if that was the reason. Other people are coming up.
I get that. I'm just saying.
I'm saying, but other people are coming up as if that's a possible reason. We don't know. Everything is speculative right now. And at the same time, you know what? When you're in the NFL and you're a private entity, all those amendment rights are not necessarily applying towards these private businesses. If you're dealing with the government, maybe that's something that can be taken care of and be going to court about it. But when you're talking about private enterprise, a lot of times your amendment rights don't necessarily apply to private enterprise in terms of your freedom of speech and your freedom of expression. That doesn't really matter anymore once you're in private enterprise. But either way, that's another part of the storyline that has popped up. But now you look at the Jets, and Woody Johnson is not guaranteeing, but he's saying that we're going to get some wins. We're going to win games now that this move has been made. It almost seems personal. So I don't know. And
well, I tend to think Aaron Rodgers did have a say in it, especially since they spoke before it happened. If Aaron Rodgers didn't want him gone, he would not be gone.
You know what? But is it up to Aaron Rodgers? Is it up to Aaron Rodgers to say yes or no if this guy has it on his mind as the owner of the team? Or I would really like this guy. Okay, I like.
But if Aaron Rodgers went to bat for him, he still has a job.
I don't think so. That's speculative as well, because you've had owners in the past where players were behind them and they decided to still go whichever direction they ended up going in. Now, why does this?
Talking about other situations. I'm talking about this situation.
But in this situation, he's still gone. And so Aaron Rodgers, we just speculating. There's nothing etched in stone right now that says that Aaron Rodgers.
Well, yeah, I'm giving my opinion. That's what I think.
And I'm giving my opinion based on what's happened. And what's happened is he said that he spoke to Aaron Rodgers. Like I think a lot of owners would speak to their quarterbacks if your defensive or your head coach is about to leave. Wouldn't you do that? I mean, Aaron Rodgers would get that type of respect. And I think, hell, if Zach Wilson was the quarterback and Aaron Rodgers wasn't here, you would probably have to ask him or not ask him, but let him know, you know what, we're going in a different direction. Not asking for his opinion, but letting him know what's going to happen.
I'm just interested to see if Aaron Rodgers' play improves, because I'm not going to say he was trash, but he did throw 3 interceptions, and the last interception was horrendous. That ball was so far underthrown. They had a potential game-winning drive, and he underthrew it by like 4 to 5 yards. That's unacceptable. If he can, well, and then I saw a stat on First Things First today. He didn't play last year, but over the first 5 games this season and his last year in Green Bay, his numbers are comparable to Derek Carr. He's no longer a top 10 quarterback.
Oh, he isn't. But you know what? It's not beyond the Jets to go and get someone who they think is still the guy, like they did with Brett Favre a few years back as well, when they brought him in and thought he would be the saving grace. Now, he so far has done better than what Aaron Rodgers has done, but this is still now going into game 6 for Aaron Rodgers. Now, as far as the offense, is it a Nathaniel Hackett issue? I think it possibly can be, because he's been a problem for, it seems like, every quarterback. Now, is he the reason why? Hatchet did a hatchet job. He got hatchet.
Get the hatchet.
He's getting the hatchet. According to a lot of Jets fans, he should have been out. I'm one of them who thought he should have been out a long time ago. Apparently, he's still around. Now, Todd Downing comes in, the passing game coordinator, now the offensive coordinator. He was at Tennessee previous for 2 seasons. Now, this is his second season with the Jets. But what has he done in terms of offense? You look at what he did in 2021 when he was with Tennessee. They were 17th offensively. In 2022, his last year there, they were 27th offensively. And then you bring him to the Jets. He's not the offensive coordinator, but he is the passing game coordinator. He works with the offensive coordinator, who's Nathaniel Hackett, and they're 29th last year. Now, you do have Zach Wilson mixed in there, so that probably says a lot. And so far this year, they're 27th. So there's really no difference, and we're watching Aaron Rodgers play the way he's playing, and he doesn't look like anything we thought he would be coming back.
Well, he is coming off an Achilles tear too.
Mm-hmm.
But again, the stats I saw go back to before his injury to his last season in Green Bay. And, I don't think they made the playoffs that year. And he was not performing at an MVP level. So, again, he's no longer a top 10 quarterback. We'll see if the new offensive regime can make some changes and they start playing better. But it could be this is what Aaron Rodgers is.
You know what? At this point in his career, this could be what he is. He is what he's showing us. And it hurts the defense as well, because now they're back out there like they were last year. You're having a lot of 3 and outs again. I thought that would be something of the past once we had Aaron Rodgers playing instead of Zach Wilson and a litany of other nondescript quarterbacks. But it's a lot of the same. And the defense seems like it can't hold up because now they're giving up the running yards they did not give up last year. They're still getting after the quarterback, which is admirable. But when you start off 2-1 and now you're 2-3 and your last loss was just this past Saturday, even though it was the undefeated Vikings, no one's looking for second place and no one's looking for moral victories. You paid Aaron Rodgers what you paid him for that reason. And now there's this talk about Devontae Adams coming to New York, bro, another piece of clown show. And that's what all it would be. But the way things are looking right now, it's their problem for the Jets. The organization, which has been a fire since I've been alive, continues to be a dumpster fire even now.